It's on again, the first weekend in October, and Australia's wheelers and dealers focus attention on Bathurst, New South Wales, in particular the Mount Panorama Racing Circuit. In a deceiving, peaceful atmosphere of sunshine and pink blossom, execs from the cigarette sponsor play host to motorcar men and their wives, journalists and TV personalities, in a cagey atmosphere of who's got what up his sleeve for the marathon on Sunday. It's almost a pilgrimage. Some 1,000 people brave the rigors of a cold dawn high above sea level, just to be part of this world of GT, this Gallaher 500. For the ARDC, a labour of love, but a ton of hard work. The end of a Hinksman headache that would stump Vincent's. Keep your eyes peeled and you'll see how this race stacks up. Take over, Bart Mogridge.
Slow down on your approach into the pits and keep left on leaving.
All the big names are here for a collective 25,000 miles over 7 hours grim concentration. A total of more than 100, including 2 who deserve but won't get very special attention. They'll be out there dicing it with men like Jane, Bartlett, French, Cusack, Murray, Gagan, Chivers, Firth, Seaton, Foley, Holden, Martin. UK hotshots, Hopkirk, McKinnon, Fall, Hawkins. Reads like a high-octane who's who. All one blood group, Castrol XL. 500 miles, 22 manufacturers, 56 starters, 5 classes. They get faster every year. Yesterday, the Gagan brothers took the fast lap champagne with 3:03 in a Falcon GT. Previous best, 3:10. They earned their position on the start grid with those practice lap times. Alfa Romeo 60, Chivers Stewart, equal 4th with 3.052. Equal with Bob Jane, Spencer Martin, Falcon GT number 54. Bartlett Stewart, 3rd in another Alfa 61, 3.035. Gagan's Falcon 53 heads for number 1 spot, followed by Fisher Hawkins 62, 3.057, pole position 6. The outright battle appears to be between these expensive Alfa Romeo GTVs, the Mini Cooper S, 8 of which are on the first 20 grid positions, and the heavyweight newcomer Falcon GT. We thought you'd value some expert forecast of things to come. Leo Gagan was one of the favourites.
Well, there's going to be the usual scramble for the first few laps. That doesn't count for much, really. The main job there will be to avoid thumping anybody at that stage of the race. I think the pattern will then start to develop over the first hour, possibly hour and a half.
Thanks, Leo. Now for Evan Green, BMC.
As I said, we're going to have an interesting first couple of hours because our tactics are going to be a little similar. They'll try and make us go too quickly so that we'll blow our motors up. We're going to try and make them go too quickly so they'll blow their brakes up. Now, it's a question of which of these particular tactics is going to succeed.
Harry Firth, can the Alfa beat the Falcon?
Well, once again, they've only 1,600 cc's. They've got 4 little pots about this big, and we've got 8 that big. There's no substitute for cubic inches.
Thanks, Harry. The Alfa camp doesn't think those 8 pots are the solution exactly. Isn't that right, Alec Mildren?
Well, I think the Falcon could be very quick in the first hour, but it's the last hour that we hope to have the race won.
Thank you, Alec Mildren. Time will tell. We thought there was something ominous in the crafty smile on the old fox as he mothered his new co-driver, Fred Gibson, onto the track. Toyotas, Datsun and Hillman GTs will ignore the outright and dispute A-class honours, under $1,800. One of the Datsuns in the hands of an all-Japanese crew. Racing tyres were permitted where they would fit the standard wheels. Wherever possible, they were used. We asked Brian Foley to explain the advantage.
Well, the tyres, of course, are designed to do anything up to 200 mile an hour. The advantage of using them here in the Gallaher 500 is they will outwear any normal road tyre. This is the main benefit of it, apart from the handling and braking.
But the available treads vary. These two are made of the same compound. The one on the left, made for dry weather, lasts longer but won't grip in the wet. The one on the right will, not so good in the dry. Brian Foley, sir, can any motorist use a racing tyre?
Well, it's not suitable for normal road use because they run very thin walls, a 2-ply wall. This is mainly for cooling at high speeds. So on a normal car driven around the street, you'd only have to hit the curb fairly hard and you'd likely to ruin a tyre.
So, Mr. Dunlop, what's the nearest we can get?
The ordinary motorist can get is a radial ply tyre, which will give him good mileage, good braking, good cornering, safety in the wet weather.
Thanks, Cliff Headley. Obvious lesson, for safety's sake, find out more. The tensions mounting, the peak of that moment of anticipation, the very essence of the sport, subdued voices, taut nerves, itchy feet. Fascinating, isn't it? The French have a word for it, the fatal moment. More than 20,000 outside the fence. Pit crew off the grid, please. "56 feet, tread on the pedal, and some $100,000 surges forward in a blue haze of burnt rubber. Now for one of the worst moments of the whole day. Waiting your turn and keeping clear of the straining metal, using your scull. Top of mountain straight, and Spencer Martin has joined Gagan and Gibson in the lead. The three Alphas have dropped back, perhaps to play a waiting game. Now 6, 9 and 10th, then Cusack and a wall of minis. Literally, the balloon's gone up. Two-thirds gone, Forest Elbow, and the three big Falcons, still Gagan, Gibson, Martin, open a sizable lead on the field. Then two more Falcons, a Studebaker and the three Alphas. Then Cusack before that wall of screaming Mini Coopers, headed by BMC Works team cars, Holden, Mackinnon, Foley, 39, 29, 28. Bottom of Conrad, no change. The fourth Falcon, 49, trying to close the gap, shoots off to Bathurst down the escape road. Savard whips around and is back in the race ahead of Bob Holden and that pack of minis. Across pit straight and the Falcons mean business. Is this showmanship or can they keep it going? End of lap 2 and Spencer Martin slides into second spot. Gibson content to fall back. Five years history here suggests Mount Panorama is too tough for the big cars. Busted stub axles, overheating, brake failure or similar could be expected. On the other hand, who would doubt the judgment of the men behind these three front cars? If wrong, Bartlett, Chivers and Hawkins are waiting to pounce. 7 hours is a long time to thrash a car like this. Tea-break in the pits finished before 9:15 with two cars on the apron, both overheated. The X2 hold his radiator from the inside, out again with a new one in 9 minutes. Lap 6 and the Falcons had come back to the field. 7 cars a split second behind each other. Gibson still not tempted, but Cusack, Bartlett and Chivers having each other on. Some funny things happen on the way round the circuit. Not all get recorded. .947, suddenly Bartlett shot into the pits with offside front wheel wobble. Tighten up, one more lap, back in again, new wheels. Total lost 3 minutes. Chivers followed him in with the same trouble. The new paint had burnt under the nuts to cause the wheel wobble. He changes immediately to lose 1.5 minutes. Wouldn't have enjoyed hearing the details on Bartlett. Over the next half hour, a grand battle up front. Cusack, Martin, Hawkins, Gagan dispute the right to lead. Gibson with them all the time, but content to lie around 5th. Martin now leads Gagan from Cusack and Hawkins, the cuckoo that's stirring the nest. Now it's Cusack, Hawkins, Gagan, Martin, Gibson through the cutting. Next time round, 10:20. The Alpha has the lead from Gagan, Cusack, Martin, Gibson. Hawkins was in front for the next 7 laps. They were all circling around 3:04. How long could it last? 10:46, and Hawkins came in for 2 drinks. He went out again, but was back in the pits after 2 laps for another. Temperature gauge boiling, cracked radiator. Make you spit chips, wouldn't it? That left a crystal clear picture of who was in front, a big car with a lot of power, in fact several of them. For a while, the world of GT was undisturbed. The Leffler-Kahn Mini Cooper 26 also made something very clear. There was more than one race in progress. A brand new brake hose burst. Johnny Leffler not hurt, again thanks to seat belts. The leaders in this Class C were Holden in 30, then Foley and Seaton 29:37, all in the same lap. They were clocking well over the ton down Conrad, but losing 5 seconds a lap to the Falcons and Alphas. Hopkirk not going well. Class B front runner, the Radford Priss Cooper 23, with hot competition from 17 Stanley Cook and the Cray Holland Cooper 16. Now the first scheduled stop for one of the big fellows, hitting around 10 miles per gallon. Jane takes over after playing safe with that offside front. Out again in just over 3 minutes, not really fast enough. The static blades of the Mount Panorama windmills shriek their protest as front-running Gagan thunders up through the cutting at around 80 miles an hour. Normally a public road surrounding fruit and grazing properties, closed 4 days a year so that city sportsmen can demonstrate their skill. While racing's on, the locals can neither get in nor out. Their tolerance is praiseworthy, and they assume we at least know where we're going. Just after 11 a.m. and the Gagans about to have a blackout. They coughed and went into Mountain Straight Gate for petrol, filled up behind the pits and out through the main paddock, caused consternation, and lost 3 minutes. Right behind him came Gibson, the orthodox way, to hand over to awaiting Harry Firth. Note the teamwork on the windscreen. Quick look at the brake pads, no change. She's surging a bit up the hill. Don't you turn that ignition on. Right, away you go, in the lead by 1 minute. The Beasley West Falcon circling well. Max Stahl to Bill Tuckey, holding their place without setting the world on fire. Meanwhile, back of the pits, Fred Gibson, always the gentleman, has forgotten he doesn't smoke. Not exactly overawed by the occasion, is he? The Japanese works engineer tunes in smartly as the privately entered Datsun number 6 prangs. Datsun 2 was leading a magnificent battle in A-class with 5 cars in the same lap, 3 Toyotas and 2 Datsuns. Now Toyota 11 Ferguson Sampson has gone to the front and is grimly hanging on. They're all flat to the boards, tension really tough, racing in a world of their own, with the Falcons and Alphas roaring past every half hour. The Hillman GTs, same class, circling well, but 3 or 4 seconds slower. Number 8 caught the eye all day, a 3-legged limping imp. The Beasley West Falcon 51 planned this race the opposite way, half empty to start. Mackay's Audi not making much impression. Cusack's Falcon 50 spent over 15 minutes in the pits with petrol surging trouble. Bad luck because he was very fast for the rest of the journey. No chance of conceding even half a lap, let alone 5. Cusack was whirling round in 3:03, but still only picking up a couple of seconds. Nearly noon, Chivers for petrol and tyres, Hawkins feeding that radiator. 20 round the back to put the billy on. Gagan's in at 12:40 for petrol and tyres. John Shepherd gets them out in under 2 minutes. One more scheduled stop around 2 o'clock. Make no mistake, getting round this 3.8 miles in less than even time takes a lot of concentration. We doubt if anyone really knew the score at this stage. Ford's going better than expected. Jane's still in it. Chivers the leading Alpha. Firth in front, but still to make his second pit stop. The ever-present question, would those Ford brakes stand up? Suddenly, Martin in real trouble. Turned out later that faulty fitting had broken the beads on all wheels, causing constant tyre trouble. 4 times winner Jane won't be making it 5. Never rains, but it pours.
Back one.
1:15 and Firth has just taken under 3 minutes to change both front brake pads. Unbelievable but true. New brake pads and only 2 minutes behind Gagan. Gibson back at the helm. Bartlett still fighting to catch up that lap lost in the first pit stop. He's really hammering. Brother, he's pushing, but the front runners are going too well. Chivers in 60 is half a lap behind. Has been all day since that unscheduled pit stop. Tension's dreadful. Nobody really sure of anything except that seconds count. Out again in 1.5 minutes. Couldn't do better. Keep it going. Can't do any more. The Hawkins-Fisher Alpha out of all calculation. The only consolation, he wasn't the only one in bother. A graceful finale, to say the least. Save trouble if you'd go round the back. Thank you. A gold sedan, slightly devalued. End of a love affair. Caught on the rebound. Must be something in the air. Pollinated offspring, perhaps. Believe it or not, Barry Seaton is between those two by half a lap in each direction. 2 o'clock and 53 in the pit for the last time. Petrol and tyres took just over 2 minutes. Still no change of brake pads. Gibson, Chivers and Gagan in the same lap. Harry Firth knows that Gibson's now over a minute in front, but he has one more pit stop to go. Chivers in the same lap, just in front of Gagan, and he has another stop to make. Nerves are wire taut, the strain tremendous. Public largely unaware of the drama as Gagan gradually narrows Gibson's lead, second by second, lap by lap. Level with Gagan on paper, but with that stop to make is Chivers in 60. Gibson circling steadily around 3:05. The old fox will be proud of him. Anything can happen. The Firth pit board tells Gibson he's 1 minute up on Gagan, but that pit stop's still to come. Gagan presses hard, 3:04, 3:03, 3:05. John Shepherd urges him on, 2 more seconds gain. Chivers plays safe, must be ready if those Ford brakes don't hold together. To be really in the hunt, Chivers knows he should be out in less than half a minute. News is now that Bartlett almost in the same lap. Right, ready and out in 2.25 minutes. And here's that vital pit stop. Gagan about 56 seconds behind. Less than an hour to go. Firth in control. Do nothing. No time to change drivers. Get that petrol in. 5 gallons. Give Gibson a drink. And go. Actual stop, 25 seconds. Still in front, but not by much. Go out and join 2 other tense men. And they're not the only tense men. Doesn't look as if the Minis can pull off the outright, but the Holden Fall machine is having a fabulous battle leading Class C. 7 Minis still circling, and 4 still in the same lap. We were missing when Tino Mackinnon stood his machine on its side up in Forest Elbow. He jumped out, righted it, and finished the lap in 3:45. Setting out to prove his Cortina win of 2 years ago was no accident is Barry Seaton, paired with proof peddler Charlie Smith in Cooper 37, now running second, less than 2 minutes behind Tony Fall. Norman Arrow, Garth Westbury running third, Class B, behind Toyota Corona 21, the car that's pushing the only surviving Cooper, Cray Holland in 16. Only half an hour to go, and Williamson MacArthur have the Toyota in the same lap. They're all having a tough go. But Corollas 11 and 12 are giving the Datsun 2 a coronary in Class A. Or is it the other way round? They'd all been foxing. Now no one could find enough extra to change the order. 11, 2, 12 it was. Toyota, Datsun, Toyota. 40 seconds between first and third. So you don't care. But these are the dying moments when drivers talk to their machines, coax them round. Up in front, Gibson knew that Gagan was closing the gap. He got to about 4 seconds when Firth gave Gibson the go sign and the gate was shut. 60, Chivers pushing hard, but couldn't be expected to make much impression, not at these speeds. Here's the actual difference between Gibson and Gagan on the last lap. Gibson is the dark car up front. Holders, and you'll see Gagan in 53. There he goes, 11 seconds behind. Down at the tower, quiet consternation. Word is that Gagan's in front. Firth later said he was dumbfounded when he didn't get the flag. Well, there's a turn-up for the books. TV commentators speechless. Pit crew's not really surprised. It was always close. Gagan grinning. No changes in the other classes. Gibson on his way round for another lap, wondering whose mathematics are at fault. One thing's certain. They either won by nearly a lap or lost by 11 seconds. Although the system's foolproof, it takes time to cross-check. More than 6,000 cars past that tower. The lap chart says Gagan, the Omega time machine Gibson. Meantime, listen to Leo's confidence.
Well done. How about it? What do you want to do? Are you real sure?
The Gagans have often gone close but never won this event. The public have no doubt that a hoodoo has been broken. Laurel, champagne and a fat check to say so. But up in the tower, the cross-checking ARDC execs now more than suspect they've made a boo-boo. After triple-checking, Secretary Hinksman awards the race for the 4th time to Harry Firth, co-driver Fred Gibson by 11 seconds. In either case, a win for Ford, which means they've won here every time they've entered this marathon. The old fox Harry Firth hadn't protested, but had been heard to say, "No fuss simply means we've got to wait a little longer before we can spend the money." Congratulations, Harry, and to your new partner, Fred Gibson. A moment of sympathy for the Gagans. There's no way you can get closer without winning. So, get your speech ready for next year, fellas. As for Class C, no surprises. Bob Holden and Tony Fall in 30, Charlie Smith, Barry Seaton 37, Tino Mackinnon and John French 29. Seaton and Smith show the very small amount of wear on tyres that have done 40 laps each. Only changed because there was time while refueling. As for Class A, half a lap separated the final 3 on the 1/17th. Surprises weren't over. At scrutineering, Toyota 11 disqualified. New final result, Datsun 2, Toyota 12, Datsun 1. Cray Holland Cooper S took out Class B. Behind them, 2 Hillman Arrows. Once again, all over bar the shouting. Harry Firth had announced that this was the last time he would drive in a race of this kind. So it was good to be present on a wet day in Sydney when the Gagans showed not only no hard feelings, but that there's so much more to this sport than hard driving. Also to be there the night that the ARDC foregathered to put the check in the right hands, Fred's of course, and to tell Harry that if he was going to retire, it was best to correct an 11-second mistake on a very special occasion.